Mastered Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta engaged in a furious battle against Universe 7's God of Destruction Beerus, in what resulted in a shocking knockout, with Beerus having to effortlessly curb Vegeta on down into the dirt after getting punched by Vegeta in the face. But the question on everyone's mind is, where does Super Saiyan Blue go from here, at least in terms of the manga? On today's video, myself and EmoshIsLive are going to be further discussing the events surrounding Super Saiyan Blue and Beerus from the Dragon Ball Super manga adaptation, Manga chapter number 27, and further seeing if it was logical and fair for Beerus to do what he had done in making a complete mockery of the Super Saiyan Blue power. And again, if you guys are new to this channel, be sure to go ahead and punch that subscribe button and turn on notifications. That way you guys can be notified whenever a Dragon Ball video is posted onto this channel to be up to date with all latest in Dragon Ball, hashtag notification squad. Now Emosh, I do want to say welcome back onto the channel. The topic for discussion here today is going to be Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta engaging in a battle against Lord Beerus. Now, right from the start, I wanted to ask you is, would you say that it made sense in seeing Lord Beerus completely annihilate Vegeta in his Mastered Super Saiyan Blue form, and seeing that Beerus still has a hidden power within him that is yet to be revealed? Or do you feel, as many others, that it just simply didn't make any sense in seeing Mastered Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta get treated the way he was, especially considering what we saw during the engagement between Goku and Beerus in the Battle of Gods movie and arc? So having to look at the premise of what happened between Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta and Lord Beerus, where do you stand on the entire situation on Beerus just having to completely one-shot Vegeta into the dirt?
Well, I think it's fair. I think it makes sense. I mean, we just finished the Zamasu arc in the manga, right? So now, if just because of that, even despite Goku or Vegeta mastering Super Saiyan Blue, and then they're relative, and they become relative to Beerus in terms of power, I don't think that would make sense at all, especially if the form itself is not mastered. So, I mean, if the form itself is a premature version of what, as mentioned by Beerus, it's just a power up from Super Saiyan God, it's not enough to defeat me. So already Beerus acknowledges is that, they're acknowledging that this is not your peak. You can go much further beyond that, which it's great to know that. So especially by him saying that. So going forward, I would say it's fair, especially if you rewind back into the manga where Shin mentions that perhaps Vegito has surpassed Beerus, and it's kind of very clever the way they did that. It's not definitively telling us that he did surpass Beerus. It's saying perhaps. And another thing, it's Shin of all people. Supreme Kai of Universe 7 is probably the most unreliable source of information.
Right, yes.
It really depends on whether or not you want to believe that. But if Master Super Saiyan Blue can rival or spar or go toe to toe with Zamasu, despite him having the certain abilities and hacks, immortality, stuff like that, ability to clone himself, all those other techniques, blow for blow, power and blow for blow, it's good to know that Beerus would have destroyed Zamasu in terms of a fight. That's good to know.
Based on
it's
what
very
we're
reassuring.
Seeing, based on what we saw in Manga chapter 27,
And granted that in the anime, to go back to the Battle of Gods arc, I think going forward, Beerus did lie. He said he wasn't even utilizing his full power. Whis confirms that for us. And going into RF, they kind of confirmed the fact that, well, at their current base power, Goku and Vegeta was like that little tree stump, and then if they were to compare themselves to the gods, they would be far away, and then they show the castle meaning Beerus's Beerus's house and stuff like that.
Right.
So
now see, going back, I was gonna say, going back to what Toriyama said, definitively, I remember he mentioned that he didn't have any plans to make Goku and Vegeta surpass Beerus or Whis anytime soon. And fast forward a few years later, here we are, and we have reached the point to where they've mastered the Super Saiyan Blue ability. The only issue I would have here is, on a comparative note, having to look at what happened in Battle of Gods and having to see what's being portrayed in the manga, it seems a little unfair to have come this far, knowing that you've become way stronger than how you were during that time of Battle of Gods, and seeing them not even be remotely close. And when I say we, I mean Vegeta not being remotely close to be on a comparative level to Beerus, even after doing all the training that he did, doing everything he once did in terms of increasing his power and reaching this new level. I would have to say that it just doesn't make any sense, because in the anime right now we don't know. We don't know definitively as to where they stand, because the anime and the manga are a bit different in terms of what they portray. Even though it's the same narrative, who's to say that it wouldn't happen in the anime as well? And it very it very likely could. But I'm saying here is, do you think it's unfair to treat Super Saiyan Blue the way it is now, especially in the manga having to get one-shotted easily, whereas opposed to Super Saiyan God kind of had like a tug-of-war kind of contest with Beerus, because several people were confused and saying, wait a minute, now, you know, Beerus was kind of like engaging with Goku back and forth, whereas opposed in the manga, you know, he was just kind of like toying around with Vegeta as confirmed by Whis, and then after he got, you know, punched in the face, he took things very serious and then putting Vegeta on down to the ground. So where do you stand on the whole premise of, you know, Super Saiyan Blue not being able to do anything to Beerus, as opposed to Battle of Gods when we saw Super Saiyan God engage with Beerus? It did something to him in terms of at least pushing him back. Now, the 70%, 40% gimmick, that's already been changed. So for those of you that are wondering if Beerus was using 70% or whatnot, that's been entirely retconned, so that doesn't imply anymore. Same thing goes with the numeric number of like 10, 1, 5, and 15 or whatever, when Toriyama first scaled Beerus, Whis, and God Goku. So those scales no longer apply. So if you guys are still basing things on 70% or the numeric number of 10 and 15, those are no longer in use. Those have been completely changed. So in your opinion, like, what are your thoughts on that, in seeing Super Saiyan God give Beerus a little bit of a run for his money as opposed to Super Saiyan Blue? It kind of stood up against him, but as soon as Vegeta was able to touch him, he put him down with like complete ease. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Well, we know for sure what Vegeta is right now in the manga is significantly stronger than anything prior to that. Significantly stronger.
Right.
So, and in the manga, Zamasu, in my opinion, he gave you that feeling. He gave you that feeling and understanding that, well, okay, you know what? I understand why the Omni King was needed to destroy this man. Like, the things he was doing. So with that in mind, with that, I mean, everything, like his ability, I mean, the way he was just decimating these guys, it was just, he felt like a villain, you know, he felt like a force to be reckoned with. Of course. And the anime, I just feel like he was done extremely poorly. But going back to the manga, it's like, I think it's fair, especially if you want to, just like you said, the information from Battle of Gods. I just don't take Battle of Gods seriously. Not anymore, at least, because we know originally it was based off of a movie. Anything based off of a movie, they have to make these characters appear a certain way. You know that. There's no, you can't really argue that.
Yes.
And despite whether or not Dragon Ball Super started off with Battle of Gods, that can be understood. That can be argued, but at the same time, you gotta understand that right after Battle of Gods, after Goku quote unquote absorbed the power of Super Saiyan God and made it his own, it's going forward into ROF where he did not know how to utilize his power. They trained with Whis, and then they understand how to utilize this power, and then they become stronger. So now, by default, it's like the story is being retold. It's being reborn. So now, Goku is not as weak as he was in the Battle of Gods arc prior to obtaining Super Saiyan God. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Because he just trained with Whis, so he just got a significant power boost. Whether or not you guys believe he's stronger in his base form than he was as a Super Saiyan God is up to you. That's up in the air. I personally don't believe that. But it's because we know Goku out of the gate in his base form had no understanding about this kind of power. It's like picture Goku having to maintain and stabilize his Super Saiyan 3 power in his base form. You couldn't do that. That's why he would transform. That's why they transform, is because they're not capable of, you know, maintaining that kind of power in their most natural state. You see what I'm saying? So this is what gave birth to the whole concept of Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, raising your ki within yourself, you know, and concealing it within yourself after having raised it. That's where all that came from. So now it makes sense. There's no, I mean, I understand if you guys are upset, people are upset, fine, it doesn't really make sense, okay, but you gotta let go of Battle of the Gods. You have to let go of Battle of the Gods and start fresh from the Rival of F arc, and then go forward from there, and things will begin to make a lot more sense. And if it's not any credibility, we know Goku just used Super Saiyan God in the anime just recently, just like Vegeta did in the manga, just like Goku did against Hit in the manga. So the fact that they still rely on Super Saiyan God tells you that, okay, the story is being retold. Don't take Battle of God seriously. Yes, they had to make Beerus appear a certain way, but if you guys think that, well, I mean, Super Saiyan God and then Super Saiyan 3 getting flicked on the forehead, and then the jump to Super Saiyan God can rival Beerus, and then all of a sudden we go into ROF and beyond, and even now Master Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta can't even dent Beerus or knock him back.
Exactly, especially go back and look at what Zamasu did. Zamasu was able to knock Super Saiyan God, Goku and Vegeta out of their forms without anyone understanding what happened. Exactly,
so you gotta let go of Battle of Gods. Once you let go of that concept of Goku utilizing this concept in his base form, a lot of things begin to make a lot more sense. That's my advice to you guys. And then once you do that, the scaling, you can stop overscaling Goku, stop overscaling Vegeta, and you can overscale Beerus because he deserves that. You see what I'm saying? Like the way they're portraying Beerus as the end goal, as the goal to surpass a rival, it makes sense if you overscale Beerus, but it doesn't make sense if you overscale Vegeta and Goku. So that's would be my answer.
Looking at it from that standpoint, I just definitively feel that Master Super Saiyan Blue should have at least given Beerus, you know, somewhat of a not a difficult time as opposed to how Super Saiyan God was, but more or less pushing him to where he takes Vegeta serious. Because in the manga, even we said, you know, he's not taking him serious. And that was what he needed to do in order to get him serious. Now, we said if he doesn't take this serious, it's going to end up being an issue. And lo and behold, when Vegeta punched him in the face, it became a real big issue. And I just feel like after seeing what Master Super Saiyan Blue did in the manga against Zamasu, and being able just to, you know, hold him off, and Zamasu was incredibly powerful, way more powerful than Super Saiyan God, because, as I said earlier, he knocked Goku and Vegeta out of those forms so quick with such precision that nobody, not the Kais, not Trunks, not even Goku and Vegeta understood what happened. That's how fast he was, and what was required to use Super Saiyan Blue to keep up with him. And now seeing how they highballed Beerus to the point where even a Master Super Saiyan Blue is nowhere near in comparison. Even by the end, after he put Vegeta down, he told him, it's going to take you 1,000,000 years just to even be my rival. And then later on having to compliment him and saying, well, you know, I have to commend you for your power. Maybe, of course, you can be a candidate to be a god, you know, like in a different universe, which was scary to even see. But we had several people that had a difference in opinion and or questions as to what happened. And I went back and I picked 6 questions and comments from my previous manga chapter review, and I wanted to go ahead and read them with you and see if I can get an answer from you, and just more or less answering these questions. So the first question having to be from Matt. He says, how do people get so hyped about Dragon Ball power levels? We know the entire purpose of Beerus being so strong that that even makes Goku look better than when he passes Beerus. The fact that I know Goku will just get a power up to pass him makes me not care about how strong the enemy is, insinuating that at some given point Goku is going to surpass him. Now, do you think that this limit breaking form is going to be that level to where it passes Beerus, or is it going to put him on at least on a comparative level to Beerus once we get to that point? What do you think?
Well, first, Matt is probably like my new friend, because I agree with him. I mean, he has a great point, because it does make you not really care about the next enemy, because this is like, okay, now this is just bullshit now. What's going on?
Everywhere,
like, yeah. Because now it's just like, well, okay, whoever this new guy is, he has to be on a, you have an expectation. You know what I'm saying? There's no surprise factor anymore. There's no, oh my god, this character has this ability, like back with like Majin Buu, for example, right? He was just, not only was he powerful, but when did he ever take the fight seriously? That's how strong he was. You know what I'm saying? And even then, it's like he used his abilities. He had so many elements of surprise that made you go, holy shit. So coming into Super, there's really, you know, aside from Zamasu, there's really no need for a new enemy at this point in time, especially if they're not going to be exponentially stronger than what Goku is right now as Master Super Saiyan Blue. And then it's just like, well, it's crazy. So to answer that, I would say, do I think the limit breaker form is going to surpass Beerus definitively? No, not yet. Especially if they want to continue. Especially if they want to continue making money from the series, both in manga and anime. Because the thing you got to understand, in manga, Beerus says, listen, that's, Super Saiyan Blue, that's just the powered up version of Super Saiyan God. You'll need much more than that to defeat me.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You'll need much more than that. You'll need more than that. And then they go on to say, well, it'll take you 1,000,000 years or whatever for you to catch up to me. You see what I'm saying? After he just Broly's Vegeta into the floor. So it's like, it gives you an idea that, well, okay, wait, so this is nothing near it, and it makes you appreciate Beerus, I would say. So my answer to that would be, at least we get to appreciate a character who was depicted to be X amounts of powerful, but we really don't see that. And we can't see that because if Beerus utilizes that much of his strength, the universe will go to shit. Just look at him fight. Just look at him just casually throwing punches with Champa. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, it was disintegrating
look
the ground, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Same thing with Super Saiyan God Goku in the Battle of Gods arc, was just like everything was literally just getting decimated. So you could argue that, well, Goku was canceling out his attacks, yeah, but then again, if Beerus is, let's just theoretically say, if Goku was going at 70%, well, okay, so that means Goku's 70% will be equivalent to what, Beerus's 5%? You gotta understand that. So now it's like, and I'm just throwing numbers out there just for the sake of understanding, well, if Beerus can one-shot Master Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, you gotta understand that, well, okay, that means maybe Battle of Gods arc, Vegeta, Beerus must have not been utilizing that much energy or power. So once we let go of Battle of Gods, things become a lot more clear. My answer to that would be, well, at least we can appreciate Beerus for who he is, because we're not seeing that in the anime. And I don't think it's, you know, and going into November, it looks like we might not even see that anytime soon. And if you guys wonder why I'm talking about November, it's because Alex recently did a video talking about how the Tournament of Power may eventually come to an end or a climax around November-ish, right? Based on what we know right now. So based on that, it's like, well, it looks like we're not going to see anything from Beerus anytime soon. So at least the manga is giving us something to appreciate, not in terms of Vegeta development, but I also do agree with Vegeta getting one-shot because it tells us that, okay, he still has a long way to go. We're going to see a lot more than Vegeta in the manga as opposed to the anime, because the anime, we don't see anything from Vegeta. But in the manga, we see a lot more from Vegeta. So they're catering to him. It's like, and the anime, basically what they're doing with Vegeta in the manga, they're giving to Goku in the anime. So it's like we kind of know what to expect. So going forward, I would say at least we get to appreciate Beerus and where he stands. And it's good to know and to get some kind of reassurance that, okay, Beerus is this powerful. I agree with it. I don't agree with Goku just getting a new power-up and all of a sudden he's just stronger or, you know, equivalent to Beerus. That's just bullshit, especially if he just one-shotted Master Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, who was equivalent to Zamasu at full power. That's just insane.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I pretty much agree with you to that extent, but I also believe that looking at this Limit Breaker form, to me at least, having to see where Super Saiyan Blue stands, it'll only be fair that they make Limit Breaker at least be comparative to Beerus, or at least surpassing him, because after all of this, after everything Goku and Vegeta have done, just for them to still be significantly below Beerus it's a little unfair to them. Even though I agree in Beerus, you know, being above them, I just think that whatever this new form is should at least be close enough to give Beerus that definitive fight that he's been looking for, because thus far, if Super Saiyan God can't do it, if Super Saiyan Blue can't do it, I mean, what is it that you need to do to in order to even stand a remote chance, you know? So going to the second question, no, go ahead.
I would say then we would need to see a rematch. I would like to see a rematch just to see where they stand.
That would, for the anime, of course, yeah, definitely.
Because the manga, we saw a potential rematch with Master Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta versus Beerus. That was put down real fast. I would like to see one with Goku versus Beerus at the point in time for us to definitively know where everybody stands. That would be. I
hope so.
Yeah, that would be, you know, I think that would be very reassuring for people and would just put a lot of things to rest.
Because maybe the warrior that he dreamt about was in fact the Limit Breaker form. Who knows? I mean, that
potentially.
But even then, I don't want it to be a one-shot deal for either party. Even if Goku does surpass him, like, I don't want him to one-shot Beerus. Even if Beerus is still stronger, I don't want him to one-shot Goku. It's going to be a very interesting concept moving after the tournament. But the second question is from Cole. He wrote, I take into account that all the Hakaishins might not be on the same level. Beerus here even states that Vegeta might become a God of Destruction candidate on another universe, like basically Topo. I think that Beerus is one of the strongest gods. Notice that Topo is a candidate god and is pretty sure to be a bit weaker than Goku, who is fodder compared to Beerus. So is it possible that Beerus is stronger than Vermount in your opinion? Given the nature of Topo being significantly weaker or a bit weaker than Goku, but Goku having to be fodder compared to Beerus. So looking at the God scale, would you say that, according to what's being said here, that Beerus is possibly stronger than Vermount?
I did a video, I'm not sure how long ago, but it was a little while back, right? And it's basically called Why Jiren Could Be the Strongest Mortal in the Universe, right? Yes. Now, whether or not you guys care about that, and I'm directing this response directly to this person, I highly recommend you check it out because I go on to talk about this whole concept of candidate for Hakaishin. And I personally don't believe it's Topo, because we do know that No, I don't believe it's Topo to be the candidate. Yeah, I'm serious. And I talk about it in depth there, and then I give you guys a conclusion as to why I feel it could be Jiren. You see what I'm saying? As to why he could be this mortal. And because we have Topo, let alone any Pride Trooper in the anime at least, has not been showcased to be doing any kind of training. Topo lives a lifestyle, based on what we see, he lives a lifestyle that's basically where he's bound to his Pride Troopers, where he's bound to being a superhero, not so much of a candidate for Hakaishin. The only person who was showcased to be training was Jiren. Topo even mentions when Dispo says, listen, we need Jiren at a time like this. Topo says, yes, my sworn friend Jiren the Grey, he must be off training somewhere right now. And then they showcase him doing a meditative kind of training. The reason I feel this way is because we know on the character bios for Topo, they mentioned for Topo, originally when he first came out, for Topo to be so strong that, you know, the concept of him being as a candidate for Hakaishin is proof enough as to what his strength is. Then we come to find out that he could barely go toe-to-toe with Goku as a Super Saiyan Blue, who, by the way, wasn't even going all out. You see what I'm saying? So now, when you take that into consideration, then Jiren is exponentially stronger than Toppo, and it's not only that, depicted to be stronger than Toppo and Goku at this point in time. You have to ask yourself, well, originally Jiren was supposed to be this rogue fighter. Then they switched it to Toppo. And then now that we come to find out that the reason they switched to Toppo is because Vermood and Kai, I think his name is Kai of Universe 11.
Yes.
They love the Pride Troopers. But then we come to find out that Jiren is exponentially stronger than that. So that tells us that maybe perhaps that Jiren is undergoing this kind of Hakaishin training, especially with the whole concept of being meditative, meditating and learning to raise your ki within yourself after having raised it, stuff like that. Only difference is they don't really rely on transformations, and this is because it's marketing. We know Super Saiyan is probably the most marketed kind of concept in Dragon Ball history, period. So that's different. And I highly recommend you check that out, because I personally believe Jiren is this candidate, because he's the only one who's showcased to be X amount of powerful and showcased to be doing some kind of training, as where Toppo is not. He's hanging out at local bars, with his other Pride Trooper friends, drinking and all this other stuff, thinking about stuff, just chilling, not so much really caring about what's going on as far as his training is concerned. We have not seen any kind of tidbit of Toppo training. Just because he's standing next to Vermood and Kai is not evidence enough to say he's undergoing that training. If anything, we see that Vermood and Kai share a passionate love for the concept of justice and the Pride Troopers. Toppo is the best candidate to portray that. Jiren is not. Jiren is not so much talking about justice. He's just coming out one-shot in Kale. He's chilling there with his arms closed and stuff like that, doing whatever. You see what I'm saying? So Jiren is that guy. I feel like Jiren is that guy who is training to be a god of destruction. Based on what we see, it makes sense. And with that being said, I would say that, well, it kind of makes sense if Jiren is that person. So for Toppo, I agree with you 1000%. But I personally believe I would try to redirect your focus onto Jiren. And hopefully Jiren isn't this alleged mortal. Because if that's the case, then I think that it's like, where do you go from here? You see what I'm saying? So going back, I would say check that video out. I kind of go, kind of in depth as to why I feel like it's not Toppo and why it's Jiren instead, as to why Jiren is this candidate. And I would say that it would be more fitting for Jiren to be that person as opposed to Toppo. Toppo right now just seems like a side piece character. Even if he is the captain, don't get me wrong, he just feels like a side piece character, not like he doesn't really feel relevant, like the guy you should really keep an eye on. You see what I'm saying? Jiren feels that way. So that would be my answer to that. So I agree with you. If it's Toppo, I agree with 1000%. Otherwise, it's got to be Jiren for sure.
Now, moving on to the third question, we have Prodigy Boy, who says, see, I like Beerus, I just hate how they overpowered him to make him look the way he is. I get it, he is a god of destruction, a god beyond gods, but he himself stated that when Goku faced him in his Super Saiyan God form, he was using 70% of his power. Now, isn't Super Saiyan Blue supposed to be beyond Super Saiyan God by power, by control of ki of everything? So shouldn't Beerus use 100% of his power against it, especially against perfected Super Saiyan Blue, or at least have difficulties? I mean, we haven't seen him train or fight in a while. All he's been doing is eating and sleeping and watching the fights. So honestly, Blue should be at least on his level, or at the very, very least close to it. Your thoughts on this?
Well, we just talked about Beerus lying about using that much power. So, and this is what I really recommend. If you guys are new to the manga, then go watch it. Go check it out from day one, please, because you'll learn so much. You have no idea. I'm not even kidding you guys. You will learn so much.
The manga has loads of information.
Yeah,
loads.
Watch the series over. Watch the series over from Battle of Gods arc. After that, after his fight with Beerus, when Beerus, pretends to fall asleep, and then Whis and Beerus leave, Whis clearly states, Beerus, you lied to him about using your full power, right? Beerus is like, I just wanted to get him to fight seriously. There's nobody. It makes sense. There's nobody who can stand up to Beerus right now on Universe 7. Maybe in another universe, because whatever, but there's nobody on Universe 7 that can stand up to Beerus. That makes sense. I'm not really sure why some people are surprised by this. This is why he was introduced. It was the same way when he was first introduced in Battle of Gods.
And I get it. I mean, he has a point in saying, well, shouldn't Beerus use more power since he's fighting a form stronger than God? But then again, those numbers, percentages, they're no longer in use.
But it's because it was based on a movie. You gotta understand that. It was based on a movie. They had to be a deciding factor. They had to make. I mean, how do you guys think? Okay, we haven't seen anything from Dragon Ball Z, right? It's been years. All of a sudden, boom! Dragon Ball confirmed to have a new movie. Dragon Ball Super, Battle of Gods. We got a new movie after all these years of not having Dragon Ball Z. You see what I'm saying? A new movie is coming out, and you watch the movie, and guess what? It's just Goku's getting one shot throughout the whole movie. No, that's not gonna sell. you know how many bad reviews you would get. So that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Let go of Battle of Gods. Let go of Super Saiyan God, right? Of the power scale for there. Start from RF and beyond, and things will make a lot more sense. So and I apologize if I sound like very direct. I don't mean to sound bold or anything. It's just the way it is. Like you got to let go of this whole 70% stuff. Forget Battle of Gods. The only reason they start off with Battle of Gods again in the series is because that's what brought it back.
That was the reintroduction, yeah.
Right, and it kind of saved them money, especially. Saved them money in terms of having to come up with this entire new arc and forget Battle of Gods. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot easier to just start off with Battle of Gods and then use that as a basis so that way they could prepare for future arcs, which is exactly what they did.
Right,
the same thing they did with ROF. ROF was originally a movie, and then boom, we get it into another series. So it gave them a way to make money again, use that money to develop future arcs going forward, and now that's why the manga is just going into the Tournament of Power. We haven't even started yet, and then the anime is already there. It's because that kind of explains the whole idea as to why the anime is ahead of the manga in terms of story, but not so much in terms of concepts. So I hope that answers the question.
Now Quasar says, so Vegeta and Goku are equal except for the fact that Goku has KAIOKEN, which is a huge boost for Goku. Again, KAIOKEN is not used in the manga, but nevertheless. Thing is, how much stronger is Beerus than Vegeta? Even if he is twice or even 4 times stronger than Vegeta, Goku should be able to beat Beerus. I mean, in GBZ, when Goku and Piccolo fought Raditz, Raditz was clearly stronger than Goku and Piccolo. They could barely keep up. The difference between their power was just 600 plus or something like that. That means that Raditz was twice or 3 times stronger than both of them. Therefore, anyone can infer that the difference between Vegeta and Beerus' power level could just be 6 times or 7 times Super Saiyan Blue. With that, we can also infer that Blue times 10 KAIOKEN should be enough. But then again, it does not make sense since Hit was able to keep up with Goku and he is weaker than Beerus. Power levels are bullshit. What are your thoughts on that?
And this is where it comes to the whole idea of just not taking everything too literally, right? I agree with you. I think when I saw Goku use Super Saiyan Blue KAIOKEN times 10, I already know that he needed the speed out of that, right?
Oh yeah, for sure.
But then like he utilized it for the speed, but then it's like, well, but he punched Hit clean in the face. You see what I'm saying? Like that should have been a one shot.
He should, yeah,
but
should have been
enough. It goes back to the whole idea of making Universe 6 feel relevant, especially, you know, that they kind of stopped the whole concept of Vegeta being Goku's only rival. They had to introduce someone else, and we know in the manga Hit was weaker than he is in the anime, and that's because in the manga they're trying to tell a different story, and that's also because in the manga they're still utilizing Super Saiyan God. In the anime at that time they weren't, so because of that they had to upscale Hit so that way he could rival Super Saiyan Blue, right? In the manga they didn't have to do that. Goku actually switched, you know, he made a switch one time or whatever, and then they go on forward, and then when Vegeta utilized it against Goku Black, Goku talks about, well, you know, didn't you do that against Hit and whatever. He was like, yeah, but I could only do it one time.
Yep.
And Vegeta is able to do it more than once. So that's the main difference there. And then just now in the anime, we just saw Super Saiyan God again, just doing the same thing Goku did against Hit in the Universe 67 tournament in the manga, and then the same thing Vegeta did against Goku Black in the manga. But they gave it to Goku. So that's the main thing there. You see what I'm saying? The manga still utilized Super Saiyan God as to where the anime did not. So I understand, but now I understand what you're trying to do by comparing Raditz and stuff like that. But you got to understand, Dragon Ball Z did a much, and that's also a time where we got a numeric value. That's back when scouters
and stuff, power
that's back when scouters are being utilized. I mean, do you think a scouter can just look at Beerus and say, well, okay?
Oh no, you'll never get a numeric value from a scouter.
You're just gonna get the infinite sign.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm saying. It's a complete different. It's a complete different style. It's a complete different portrayal. Right now, Super is just trying to, you know, introduce a god tier character and make them exponentially powerful. You can't really compare them to Raditz, and I understand what you're doing in terms of numeric value, but you still can't. You can't even compare Beerus to Goku right now. Like you just can't do it. You just have to understand, okay, Beerus is this powerful, and you have to understand the reason Beerus can't utilize his full power is because he'll destroy the universe if he does. I mean, and it kind of goes back to the point I brought up earlier in this conversation where I talked about, well, a casual sparring match of just exchange of fists and kicks between Beerus and Champa was literally decimating the universe completely. Everything was starting to
keep in mind, KAIOKEN was never implemented in the manga, so it is slightly different. I mean, I would say KAIOKEN would be a bit more sufficient and effective, but even then, it's still, with Beerus having to do what he did in the manga, it's pretty certain that he would do the same thing in the anime. But that's the thing. It's like we haven't seen that in the anime for us to be like, wow, you know. But hopefully enough, like even after all this is said and done, they'll introduce that, and then at least, you know, definitively tell us where Beerus stands, because we don't know where he stands. That's what you know, leaves us so confused and baffled by him as a character, because he's so strong that we don't know where he lies, and even beyond him are the angels, and that's like, wow, it's even more terrifying, because you already know Goku he's never gonna surpass the angels, or at least I hope not. But using Raditz as a comparison, I see what you mean, but Vegeta in the manga having to be comparative to Beerus even by a slight margin is just, it's absurd, because obviously based on what we saw, he got put into the dirt real quick, and that's, you know.
If anything, think about this: when Goku was fighting Vegeta, right? Even a KAIOKEN ×4 Kamehameha wave was not enough to kill him. He literally got back up after that. Vegeta clearly, he wasn't down for the count. He got up after that and started walking. He was severely damaged. Yeah. But you got to understand, that's why I praise DBZ so much, because it did so much of a better job at really making you feel like, yo, these guys are strong as fuck. In Super, it's just clean cut. Even the animations don't do a good job. Like Goku will get, like for example, Goku versus Kale. He's getting dragged across the Kachikachin, the hardest material in the multiverse, and it's not scratching his clothes at all. No, and then people use that. And then people use that as a basis. Well, oh, well, his clothes weren't scratched, so that means Kale wasn't really damaging him. Blah, 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 blah. Like, no, come on, use common sense, bro. Stop it. Like, come on. Now you're just taking it too literal. Like, okay, for example, Beerus literally backhand bitch slapped Bulma in the face. Did her head explode? No. But meanwhile, he flicked Super Saiyan 3 Goku. And then you could say, well, maybe Beerus concentrated a lot of his power in his nail. Duh, I know that. But I'm telling you, like, Bulma, like, even the farmer with a shotgun has a power level of 5. You know what I'm saying? I mean, where was Bulma? I mean, Bulma took a backhand slap, a full extension from Beerus.
Knocked her unconscious,
her head didn't come flying clean up. That's what I'm saying. It's like certain things we take too literal. For example, another example, Goku versus Monaka Beerus in the Monaka suit. That's bullshit. You see what I'm saying? It's just a gag fight. Like, Akira Toriyama and the writers are not thinking about power scaling the way we are. Like, they're not thinking, wait a minute, like, oh shit, Beerus slapped Beerus has slapped the Bulma. Oh fuck, I'm fucked now. Like, no, he's just writing a story. He's giving it to the writers, and the writer's responsibility is to portray what Toriyama envisioned. They give him an idea, he gives them an idea, and they write it. That's it. We don't always have to accept it. Right. You know what I'm saying? Like 17 pushing Goku to Super Saiyan Blue, but does that mean 17 is Super Saiyan Blue level? No, not entirely. So you got to understand, like, not everything is meant to be taken literally. And I once again, I apologize if I sound a little bit condescending. It's just us not really. It's kind of like the same advice you guys give me. Enjoy the damn show. Why does Emosh have to literally analyze each and every single thing? No, I've learned to just sit back a little bit and say, okay, you know what? Fuck it. Like,
just accept it.
Like, it is what it is. I'm not gonna scale nothing. I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys definitively, because even when I do, then it's like, oh well, who was he to pick the show like that? Does he work for Akira Toriyama? And then it's just like, no. But I'm just saying, like, it's because Akira doesn't really give us information the way we used to get information in Dragon Ball Z. So coming into Super, it's really difficult to give you guys an answer. My advice to you is to just take the same advice you guys give me. Enjoy the show. I agree with you guys, though. Not everything makes sense. But then again, it's like we just have to say, you know what? Let's just be thankful. It's Dragon Ball Super. I mean, it is what it is. I personally, I'm happy Beerus is this strong. I mean, I'm not even fanboying. I like Beerus as a character, but I'm happy he's this strong. It kind of gives you guys a hope to say, you know what? That means Dragon Ball Super will potentially last long, especially if this new power is not, you know, equal to Beerus yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like, okay, that means we could expect more content, which, in my opinion, I could appreciate in terms of, and that's just from a fan's perspective. Right, so I hope you guys do too. I'm just gonna wrap it up there. I don't want the answer to be too long.
Now Jojo says this makes no sense at all. I'm so confused. Okay, I'm not riding Vegeta, Goku, or Beerus. I'm just gonna say these fights make no sense. Vegeta at this level should be on par with Beerus right above now. They keep upscaling Beerus because they don't want him to become Piccolo, meaning he's strong as shit back then, but now he is a mid-tier character. Yeah. They don't want that for Beerus, even though Beerus is a skinny, lazy cat who sits on his ass all day eating oodles and noodles. And like really, dude, at least have Beerus put in some training. It would be cool. They just give him a power increase over and over for no reason. Like, what he doesn't do anything. I see that I agree on. It's like he doesn't do anything, but it's not like he hasn't done anything since his existence. There's a reason why he's in that position, you know. Granted, I agree. The fight shouldn't be so one-sided. At least Beerus should just, you know, break a sweat at least at once in a blue. But like, what are your thoughts on this? Because, you know, like, do you think that they're purposely upscaling Beerus just to not, you know, not make him fodder, or do you think that it's just the nature of his character?
All right, look, you guys gotta understand, like, if Vegeta right now is equivalent or can, you know, throw hands with Beerus like no problem, then it's just like, where's that put Vegito? You see what I'm saying? Like, no. Yes, that's what I'm saying. If Vegito, quote unquote, supposedly, perhaps surpassed Beerus, why should Vegeta be able to throw hands with Beerus at this point in time?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You gotta understand that, and that gives credibility to Vegito. And it also gives a reason for Vegeta and Goku to continue training. You guys understand? Like, if Beerus is still this strong, that tells you we're gonna get more content.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's still, and we know Vegeta is the most developed character in the history of Dragon Ball. There's no, and then second, you know, comes Piccolo, etc., you know, etc. Like, it's good. It's healthy for the series to keep Beerus this powerful, especially by design. And you understand, Beerus is millions and millions of years old. He's done his part. So if he's lazy now, whatever, I mean, can you blame him? There's no challenge for him. So that's what I'm saying. That's why the Oracle Fish, if you guys, like I said, if you guys read the manga fully, Oracle Fish says, nope, those guys will, you know, he told them defensively, nope, those guys are going to rival you. So and the Beerus is like, you sure? And Oracle Fish is like, yep, they're going to rival you. And then Beerus is like, Vegeta, get down here. We're going to fight right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it wasn't for the Oracle Fish, like, otherwise he would just go to continue to be lazy. So right now, because the Oracle Fish definitively told him, no, those guys will rival you, Beerus has now taken more of an interest in them. So if Beerus continued to train now, he would shit stomp even as Limit Breaker Goku, even Vegito, even all these other characters, and then we still wouldn't be happy.
Considering the Oracle Fish was the one that motivated him too to get him and fight him too.
Exactly. So you got to look at it from that perspective. I understand how you feel. Like, I get it. But it's like, I personally think it's healthy for the series if Beerus continues.
He has no challenge, bro. There's a reason why he's lazy. When there's no competition, you get very complacent. But the last question here is from Bullets. He goes, I don't understand how Vegeta might have closed the gap between him and Goku when Goku has Kaioken and Hakai. And Beerus said Vegeta can be a god of destruction in another universe when Goku used Hakai against Zamasu. Hakai is something that only gods of destruction have and use, so Goku is way more of a candidate to be a god than Vegeta. By the way, Hakai is destruction, and it is what Beerus used against normal Zamasu. Your take on that?
That I didn't agree with. That's why I try to shy away from any discussion regarding Goku having Hakai in the manga. I don't understand why, especially if it failed miserably. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that was the last straw there. I think Goku having Hakai, I don't even think he did it the right way, but Goku even having Hakai, and it's like he's never done it before. He just tried to do it, and all of a sudden he could do it. It's like, okay, well, he's not Hakai-shin, and Vegeta is being acknowledged as someone who could be a candidate for that. I agree with that because I think Goku won't use his powers for the sake of keeping a balance. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if anything, a lot of the stuff that happens is because of Goku. So, and then Vegeta ends up getting dragged into it, and then Vegeta ends up being the test dummy for Goku to get beat up by the villain or the antagonist, and then Goku's like, okay, I know how to beat him. Thanks, Vegeta. You know, tag me in. You can sit down. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's like, so I agree with Vegeta having his own story and Goku having his own story, being the strongest fighter in the multiverse, and Vegeta being the Hakai-shin of that universe, and then potentially Goku having a clash with Vegeta just to spar, just to fight. You know what I'm saying? It gives them both a reason to stay motivated and become stronger.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And Vegeta would have the advantage because that would, you know, allow for him to live exponentially longer than Goku, and it would give him a means to surpass Goku exponentially. So I think when you look at it that way, it's just like, okay. But once again, bro, I agree with you 1000%. I think Goku having a Kai in the manga is fucking retarded. I don't agree with it. I think it's just a complete ass-pull, especially since...
That came out of the blue. That came out of the blue.
No pun intended. Like, literally out
of the blue.
Like, you know, it's I don't agree with it, especially because it failed so miserably. I personally can't answer that. I don't even want to touch it, to be honest. I hope we get some kind of reason as to why. Like, even it's you know, it's interesting. Hopefully in the next chapter they talk about Goku using Hakai.
Oh, really?
You know what I'm saying? Like, so. I would like to see that because we have not gotten any kind of information regarding that. Like, you know, so Yeah, man, sorry, I can't answer that entirely.
Hopefully enough, we're going to come back and retouch on this video based on your comments, guys. But as of now, all we can say is just read the manga, because the manga does have definitive information going forward in terms of explaining Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Blue, why they're being used, their percentages and whatnot. Even though there isn't a numeric number to scale just necessarily yet, I think that it's only right for Beerus to be ahead. The only thing I disagree with is just having Super Saiyan Blue not do anything to him, like not even push him remotely close in trying. And I felt as if Master Super Saiyan Blue at the least should have done something to just make him break a sweat. But even with that being said, post your comments down below, guys. Do you guys agree with Beerus one-shotting Vegeta? Do you guys disagree? What are your overall thoughts on the concept of Super Saiyan Blue and Super Saiyan God alongside Beerus? And where do you guys think this new limit-breaking power is going to take Goku after he achieves it? Thank you all so much for watching. If you guys are new, hit that subscribe button, guys. Leave a like on the video. Subscribe, guys, and check out Emosh's channel. I will leave a link to his channel down in the description below, guys. He does tons of awesome Dragon Ball content on his channel alongside live streams. So if you guys want to be a part of his live stream, check that out, everybody. Thank you all so much for watching, and we'll be seeing you all down in the comment section below. Have a wonderful day, guys. Peace.